Hello and welcome to Revamped, a rewatch podcast covering my all-time favorite shows and movies. I'm your host, Brandon Alexander.
And I'm your co-host, Courtney Autumn.
Together, we've been journeying through Buffy the Vampire Slayer, patrolling the streets of Sunnydale, but now our path expands beyond the Hellmouth as we continue to follow Buffy's battles and growth.
We also step into the shadowy streets of Los Angeles to join Angel on his quest for redemption and his fight to discover what it truly means to be a champion.
Venture with us through every episode in order as we experience the story from two perspectives, Courtney's first time watch and my seasoned rewatch, doubling down on the themes and moments that shape the Buffyverse.
We'll examine pivotal choices, major story arcs, and explore the deeper layers of each show's continued character growth and development.
All while engaging in conversations and sharing our own authentic thoughts and feelings to what's unfolding before us.
So sharpen your stakes, ready your swords,
and continue to stand with us against the forces of darkness as we journey through the supernatural worlds of Buffy the Vampire Slayer
and Angel.
Let's get into this episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome, actually, officially, for the first time, to our very first Angel episode. Our episode with the man in the sky, the Angel. Just kidding.
I was like, did I miss something?
Yes, we're actually changing this to a devout Christian podcast. We're going to call it Holier Than Thou podcast.
I'm going to call it Leave Session.
All right, great. That was a joke, apparently, because I'm feeling goofy all of a sudden, and I don't know why. Welcome to our very first episode of Angel. Angel. I don't know how to do it because we're used to covering Buffy all the time, so I know how to roll with that end.
You have to get used to it.
But no, we're literally here for the very first time to cover Angel, Season 1, Episode 1, City of. Aired October 5th, 1999. Written by Joss Whedon and directed by Joss and David Greenwald. Fun fact, do you know what the City of name is a spin on? Do you get it?
The City of Angels.
Look at you. No, the City of the Lord himself, Courtney, because this is a new podcast, Holier Than Thou podcast. Thank you.
All right, F around. I'm going to leave session. You're not going to have no co-host.
Oh.
You better get Nicki Minaj on here.
Oh.
I'm dead.
Yes, actually, though, City of Angels, which is actually a really fun way to put a spin on the title for the very first episode of this new show, Angel.
I feel like because it's kind of ironic because it's not, in fact, a city of angels. Like in the metaphorical sense and in the literal sense in this case.
What's going to be my next point was that this is not anything holier than thou taking place in the city, which is why we are not the Holier Than Thou podcast. And you will be in session every session for 111 episodes. 110, actually, I think. I don't remember. Maybe 111. Who the fuck knows? We'll figure out in 5 years when we're done. All right.
Oh,
great.
gosh.
Either way, in this episode, in the series premiere, Angel arrives in Los Angeles seeking redemption beyond the Hellmouth. Haunted by his past and unsure of his purpose, he crosses paths with Doyle, a half-demon messenger plagued by visions of people in danger sent from the powers that be. When Cordelia Chase re-enters Angel's life, the three form an uneasy alliance, choosing to help the helpless in a city that thrives on exploitation, and together they take their first step towards something resembling a mission. I know that one was really long, but I had to put all that in there because we got new people to introduce, a little like breadcrumbing to do within it. Like I was breadcrumbing you all last season with no breadcrumbs, talking about Cordelia ain't on the show anymore. And then here we are. Cordelia is back on the show, which
Yay.
is amazing. And obviously the show stars David Boreanaz as Angel, Charisma Carpenter as Cordelia Chase, and our lovely new character, Glenn Quinn as Doyle. He obviously is our resident Irish man from Dublin, but he is most known as playing the role of Mark Healy, Becky Connor's boyfriend, on the iconic 90s hit sitcom Roseanne, if you ever watched Roseanne. I'm a huge fan of Roseanne. I was just watching the episodes that had him in it very heavily, and then I had to quit watching the series because I realized around season 7 that show gets pretty drabby, and it's just like they're always bickering and arguing on that show and shit, but it just kind of got a little, I wouldn't say too toxic. Maybe I'll dip back into it to finish it, but I was trying to treat it as like something to put on for background noise while I do laundry and shit like that. And I really enjoyed watching like the first 5 or 6 seasons. And then as I started getting the back half, I was like, I'm gonna watch something else. You know?
I'm over this now.
I don't know what was going on, but either way. But they're on the show, and then we have guest stars. Tracy Middendorf is playing our lovely Tina. Vito Ruginis. I don't know. It's been a long time since I couldn't pronounce someone's name, but that's who plays Russell, aka this fucked up looking faced motherfucker, because they done played around with the demon makeup again, and they done made him a little too pasty, pale, gray looking vampire with these like morphed ass eyebrows that are like high arched, like Courtney's be arching. You know how people be talking about your eyebrows arched on the podcast. Arched, because arched is the word. That's what we're gonna call this one. Thankfully, they eventually shift back into like a regular kind of vampire style, but I think they were trying to make it more intense or something, bring some more life to the vampires or some shit. Who the fuck knows? But and then our final guest star, we have Christian Kane, who is portraying Lindsay McDonald, who, spoiler of all spoilers, we will begin to see a little bit more on the show, but he was our lawyer that was helping out Mr. Russell with the fucked up gray face. All right, well, here we are. We're officially at Angel. Courtney, what the fuck do you think about Angel so far?
I love it so far. I like that it's a lot more moody in a way than Buffy seems to be as far as our scenery is concerned, but also in general because Angel is there. But yeah, I like that it's more moody and that it seems way more adult just starting out, obviously, because we started with Buffy in high school, so this is already starting off a whole new kind of mature feeling, which really is in good alignment with where we're at and watching Buffy, because that's kind of the turn things are taking there. So obviously things are getting mirrored, and that's also interesting. There's also a part in this episode that's super interesting that goes back to Buffy, a Buffy episode. So anyway, yeah, I like it a lot. I like the thoughtfulness that's getting put into both shows, still kind of having little breadcrumbs in each other, so it seems anyway. And I love that Cordelia is there. So, and everyone's different in a way. You know, Cordelia's not by technical terms Cordelia. I mean, she is, but she isn't. Like she's definitely proving something, you know, is what it seems, or she's kind of wanting to, or she I don't know, she's wearing different shoes. That's kind of how it feels. But yeah, I'm looking forward to just see what happens next.
I really am going to have fun doing this show because I've seen it a handful of times, and I mean probably more than a handful of times, but I'm not as ultra obsessed as like the way I am with Buffy. I've seen a lot of it, yes. I don't know how to like put that any differently, but I noticed whenever I was watching it through that I actually have to, mostly from when I started doing the script for episode 2 of Angel, I was like, damn, I really got to watch for like quotes and like final slay material, stuff like that, because I didn't really automatically know what to put. Sometimes when I do the script for certain episodes, I'll automatically have Buffy quotes out the ass that I know I like. And I still hear them in the episode, but I'm like, oh yeah, that one definitely is going in there. Like just choosing those different things on like what's going to slay this episode. You know what I mean? There's a lot of scenes to, I feel like, choose from and stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel like I was just taking it in a lot differently, watching it to create the walkthrough for this. I really enjoy this show. It is like right up there with Buffy for me. I'm excited to start covering it analytically and get into it and pay attention to it differently, because I'm not just watching it to watch it anymore, you know, and we've been doing this with Buffy for so long, so it'll be kind of fun. But, you know, this opening episode, I feel like I've seen a lot more times than everything else in the series. There's a handful of episodes that are really fun that I always return back to, but this one like is very specific because it is their opener, and I feel like it's decently strong from what I witnessed within it. I was surprised that we have such a main cast that's super small to start with, because we started the other show with Xander and Willow and Cordelia. And I mean, not like Cordelia wasn't automatically in the Scooby Gang, but there was like Jesse and Giles and all these other characters. And I mean, we do have the little side characters like Tina and Russell and the law firm and things like that. But like as a core cast, we really truly only have Angel, Cordelia, and Doyle. leading the show right now,
Yeah.
which is so different to kind of see them and how we're going to deal with that. And that's more so moving forward right now in the beginning of this stage versus like everybody coming together, because it takes a while before we really see Cordelia. Like obviously by the end of this episode, she's like getting her foot in the door and that way to speak, I guess, and more inserting herself in, because she's like, I'm going to be a part of your life whether you like me or not, because I have no purpose type thing. But the introduction of Wolfram and Hart was really nice too. It like helps put in place the systems of higher power, aside from Doyle's higher power, of like the corrupt, like how they cover up stuff, because that's a big LA theme. You know, obviously we're bringing it into Los Angeles as our location as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that changes the dynamic. We're not in a small town anymore. We're actually in one of the biggest, most thriving cities next to like, you know, New York, iconically in the US at that. So there's a lot of shit that's going on here, and we're already like understanding a lot of those themes that come up with toxic Hollywood or cover-ups or scandals. Yeah, exactly. That's already kind of showing that that could be a theme, which is very interesting, because moving away from, I would say, a more adolescent phase that we've been in with Buffy, even though Buffy's moving more towards adulthood, this show starts automatically at adulthood.
Yeah.
Like kind of like what you were saying, being a more mature show and stuff like that. But it's really interesting to see how we're going to deal with vampires in this world and demons and things like that amongst a city of just regular people that are doing wrong, in a sense as well, because we see that in some small ways on Buffy, our characters choosing to do the wrong things, or people helping the monster of the week that are monsters themselves, but they're just basic ass human beings. I don't know why, but what's his face is popping up in my head from Some Assembly Required, where he was just trying to help build the fucking stitch the Frankenstein girl up together, and he was getting his ass kicked by Buffy all episode. Chris and his mom, his catatonic mom. This show showing Angel in a different light too, where we haven't seen him before, I think is really interesting. Like we get to see what seeking redemption is for him, and how we like kind of come in the beginning and he hasn't really been connecting with people, I guess is the best way to put it. And it kind of takes Doyle putting him back on his path, being sent by the powers that be to say like, hey, you actually need to form connections. He's still saving people, like as we see with our opening scene.
Yeah,
he's
he
still
just seems really isolated.
Exactly, which is
intentionally
not helping the overall thing that he's supposed to be getting done, I guess. He's supposed to be connected, so that way he's connected to humanity again in a certain way, versus like shoving them away. And there's like other issues we'll get into when we get into it, but I thought that was very interesting how we start off, because I would just expect to maybe see Angel balls to the wall going crazy and stuff like that, which we kind of see, but also still kind of being connected with people, because he spent all his time on Buffy around people, you know, when he wasn't evil trying to eat them and do all this other stuff. But it's just like, I think he's living that detached life, so he doesn't grow attached to people like the way he did to Buffy. So that's why he's creating isolation right here, even if it's not supposed to be like a romantic connection with people. I think he's trying to like stay unaligned in that way, so that way he doesn't, I don't know, get off track from his mission or sit on the sidelines. But to me, I think the sidelines that's where he kind of sat whenever he was first cursed and he wasn't getting around people. He was just hiding in the alleys and eating rats and shit like that, and not doing anything with his life. He's still kind of halfway there now, being put back on his path, or starting whatever his path he thinks it should be. And then whatever the powers that be are send this guy, and they're like, no, actually you are doing this the wrong way, so we're going to help like realign you in a different way. So I don't know. It was just like weird, because between this episode and doing episode 2 script, I noticed that connection seems to be a little bit maybe of a mini overarching theme that we might see from Angel season 1 specifically. And I've never assessed what the themes and metaphors or what's going on this show on a deeper level. Buffy, like contextually, you can always like kind of get that in certain ways, because we have monsters manifesting as metaphor. But here in this show, it turns up as something a lot different. So I thought that was going to be interesting to be like, all right, theme of this season, like when we get to the wrap up, and I'll be like, I think it was connection, and then we're gonna be like, well, that was a little bit of it. We'll see what the rest of it is, because I don't know yet. Either way, I'm gonna quit rambling. I really like the show, and this is a fun first episode. I know I said a long time ago that I was going to mention it, but I'm assuming you remember the episode I Only Have Eyes for You. That was the episode with James and the ghost in the school, and him and Grace's story that was getting told, and Angel got possessed by Grace, Buffy got possessed by James, and then they made the whole scenario play out differently at the end of that episode. And obviously that was whenever Angelus was emerged and all that type of stuff. But that episode, Joss watching Sarah and David act that was whenever he noticed, I've come to the conclusion that David could run his own show. And based off his performance and that was when they started kind of green lighting and breadcrumbing the idea of like, hey, dude, we kind of like might want to spin you off of Buffy after season 3 and let you take on your own show and do a spinoff series. So that's where that comes from. I remember in season 2 when we got to that episode, though, because obviously doing my notes and stuff like that for that episode, I wrote it as a note and I said something about it within that recording. But I obviously was like, I can't mention it right now. So I guess hopefully right now is the time that I've mentioned it. But there's that. Otherwise, that's really all I got for opening thoughts because, you know, we can basically get into the episode now that we've done all that. For real, let's press play on the episode. All right, great. This is going to be fun. This opening sequence is hilarious. We are treated to aerial views of Los Angeles at night, flashing across its human and not so human inhabitants as Angel narrates.
Los Angeles. You see it at night, and it shines. A beacon. People are drawn to it. People and other things. Come for all sorts of reasons. My reason? No surprise there. It started with a girl.
We find Angel continuing his story, appearing sloshed and chatting with some guy who definitely does not look like the girl he's saying he reminds him of. Nor does this guy look like he's pleased with this decision because we cut the camera because he's like, you kind of remind me of this girl I once knew. And like, obviously it's trying to like breadcrumb us into him talking about Buffy. And you look over at this guy and he's some hulking, bald black man. And like David is acting obviously, but Angel's acting like he's kind of drunk and shit like that, like chilling at the bar. We've got these people playing pool behind him and we find out he's obviously there for them. But I'm just like, this is your like now that you're kind of getting into this whole detective agency type thing, which is a fun little breadcrumb we did back during Choices whenever we were like detective or Choices, I think no Consequences. Whenever he was like kind of lurking and watching the scene get cleaned up and then like keeping a watchful eye on Faith, I was like, Detective Angel's getting started. Like this is bringing us as like the ideas of what we get on this show, because clearly he's behind the scenes doing these things as we see as it unfolds. But so goofy. Giggly Angel looks back at a group of people, like I said, playing pool, and one of the guys comes over to the bar to pay their tab to head out. Angel continues, what we're about to find is a charade, because after all, he is the world's best actor, contrary to Faith's belief. The 3 men pass by with the girls they were shooting with, and Angel's demeanor shifts to serious. Intense music plays as he slow-mo walks after them. We get our first like slow-mo Angel. This is something that the show does quite regularly in a certain way and aspect, and I'm low-key here for it, which means I'm high-key here for it. Outside, one girl asks if these guys can really get them into some private party, only the guys have decided that sounds boring and instead they should switch to killing the girls instead as they vamp out and prepare to feed on them. That is until they're interrupted by Angel stumbling out into the alley, acting again for some reason like he's drunk and looking for his car. He grew all serious, like you see them walk behind him and he's like got his giggly, goofy little David Boreanaz face on. That's totally normal David Boreanaz. And he shifts to like serious and gets up and walks out the thing. I'm like, why don't you just go out there and start kicking their ass? Like, why you gotta play off this whole facade again and be like, yeah, man, blah, blah, blah. Like, what? They try to get him to piss off. And it's funny because Angel gets up in that guy's face and he's like, breath mint? Like when the guy's like scolding him and shit. And I was like, wouldn't that just be called a mint? Because these vampires have no breath. So like, I don't really get what he was trying to do there. Like I found myself fucking around with this because I was like, bruh, how y'all write the show like this? That's like whenever vampires smoke cigarettes on the show. How y'all pulling that air into your lungs?
No,
I don't get it.
I never even thought about that.
Dumb Spike. Because he's about the only time we really see vampires smoke on the show. Either way, like I continued into my notes being jokey. I was like, is that really what we want to be calling these? Must be the mints the mayor had back on Buffy, the little soft mints, you know. They're special to vampires and sorcerers and evildoers. That's why like you can pop them in and it'll help the evil people. Anyways, the vamp goes to swing at Angel and blocked immediately as Angel begins battling the vamps. This is badass because we get to see him just like full on fucking wail these motherfuckers. Kicks, flips, and plenty of badassery occurs, and he manages to knock 2 of them away. They quickly charge back at Angel on each side of him. He extends his arms downward as these 2 stakes slide off on like fucking mechanisms that he's got like latched to his damn arms because he's Batman all of a sudden. Like, this whole episode in general, I don't know what fucking guns and supply store he went and like raided out to get these things. Probably the same one Faith broke into back in the day to get supplies. Except Angel probably paid for them because, you know, he's a good man. But they slide underneath from his coat sleeves and he like throws his arms out to the side, perfectly executing a 4K per slay of both vampires. Like, not a 2K per slay from jump. Like, bam. Super cool sequence. We've never seen some shit like this on the show. We've seen Buffy stake vampires back to back, or like the vampire shish kebab kind of situation, but we have never seen stuff like this. So it already lets you know the stakes, no pun intended, are already raised for Angel kicking ass. The two fade to dust, and the last vampire hits Angel with a trash can, knocking him to the ground. Angel turns back, now in vamp face, lunging at his foe, tossing him over onto a car. The girls attempt to thank Angel, but he expresses they need to get the fuck away from him, and they flee off. Breaking off a shard of wood from a nearby crate, he passes the vamp on the car, staking him, giving us another 2K per slay, as the champion Angel score is heard for the first time. He disappears down the alley. We fade to black and cue the Angel theme. Also, for the first time. Mate, you nailed that for your first time. Just saying. All right, great. That's what we'll be doing from now on, you guys. So here we go. 109 episodes to go. I done said 110 episodes. I done said 111 episodes. I really think there's 110 of this series, so maybe
somewhere around there.
109 to go. We'll see. We open and later find Angel entering a building, following through into an office that he unlocks, walking through and entering a personal elevator, taking him down below to his home underneath. Really cool setup. So apparently he's got this office he's not utilizing, but he's rented out this building where his office like doubles as his home underneath, which I thought was really cool for a vampire because he can pop up when he wants to be out of the sun, but then he definitely has no chance of sunlight underneath. His unwind mode is interrupted when a man appears behind him, and all he asks is, "Who are you?" when he turns around. I'm like, this guy is in your apartment, home, whatever the fuck you want to call this. And I'm pretty sure Angel is normally a like beat your fucking face in and ask questions later type person. But for some reason, he senses, I guess, that this guy is like here for a good reason. Because I don't know. I walk up in my bedroom, and unless it's Courtney coming out from the shadows or Anyanka talking about done, I ain't got no time for someone just being up in my fucking space. Like, you up in my home, you done braked and entered my home ass home. Okay, no. Whatever. Our guy Angel recognizes this guy doesn't smell human. He introduces himself as Doyle and lets us know through an awkward fake sneeze that he's in fact half demon. That shit was so cheesy. I don't know why they had to do that. I don't know if you really remember it because I know you've only seen the episode once, but he all like chews in his fucking arm and little black spikes come out of his green face and shit. I'm like, what just happened? Like, couldn't you just morph out or like say, hey, yeah, I'm actually part demon. That's why you're not picking up on the scent or something like that. Like, you have to fake sneeze. Okay. Whatever, anything for some CGI, I guess. Clearly not a vampire like Angel. He voices he came in with no invitation needed, and he's been sent by the powers that be. The powers that who? Courtney, do you even know who the powers that be are? Do you have any suspicions on who the powers that be are? What do you think?
I've never given it any thought, to be honest. I don't know. Like a higher
like
power.
A higher power, yes. The
Yeah.
powers that be. The ones that you cannot see, but they be, you know?
They be there.
They be there. They be there. They be seeing there. And by seeing, I mean they be sending you mind-splitting migraines to give you visions, apparently.
And your name is Doyle.
Well, Doyle, whose actual name is Doyle, gives us a crash course history of Angela/Angel from both his past as an evil vampire all the way to him being cursed and then falling in love and helping the vampire slayer over in Sunny D. Of course, this is to let the viewers who might not possibly have tuned into Buffy, they get a little recap on who Angel is and why he's here on this new show, why this has come about. I like that they did this, but obviously I'm a diehard Buffy fan, so I'm like, I don't need to see all this. I already know. Fast forward. But it is nice because there are people for whatever fucking, and still to this day, ungodly reason, that have never seen Buffy that watch the show. And there are some people that love Buffy that have never watched Angel, never even the fucking episodes that
That's
are
crazy.
iconic and spin off that have really cool characters on it that like come from other like stuff that I can't spoil. Like, how do you not watch those episodes? They mean so much. They tie in directly with Buffy. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get that.
You'll understand what I mean whenever we get there, but like,
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you not watch its sister companion show? I get maybe watching it and being like, I don't ever all like it. Maybe I'll watch just the episodes that like have characters from Buffy that appear in a random one-up episode or something like that, or something that connects in a certain way, do my research type thing, so I just have the ability to know. It's like watching Scream and then never watching any of the rest of them and being like, oh, I don't know what happened to Sidney Prescott.
That would be wild.
Like, wow. Either way, Angel knows this story as we do, since he lived it, but now realizes Doyle knows all about him and wonders the reason he's there. Doyle informs that even though he's trying to do good, helping the helpless, he's also disconnected from them and everyone around him, which is going to lead to him feeding off one, since he has no tie or care for them past saving them. Or at least that's what temptation could lead to, especially since he's had human blood in the form of Buffy in the not-so-distant past. Wild that they do this, though, because we get the idea that Angel hasn't fed off of a human in a long time. And we see in the opening sequence, whenever he tells the girls to get away from him after he turns around a vamp face, that one girl's got the busted head with the blood dripping down and stuff. And that's what he looks at. Like it shows her face, but you can tell his vision's hazy on her forehead where it's bleeding, as if he's like still fiending for blood, because he hasn't had blood for forever. So it kind of is an interesting way to say, not only are you not on your path right now and connected to people, you're so disconnected from people that you might start to look at them as like, oh, maybe a little snack here and there. Like if I don't save them, maybe I'll just go ahead and drink them and leave their body. So you know what I mean? Like it's an interesting way to like kind of think about that, because I was like, I never put that into perspective. I just thought he would continue to like drink pig's blood like he's always been doing and never really go there.
Or eat rats or whatever.
Whatever. Yes. Thank God we haven't been seeing him do that in a fucking season and a half. But like, such a wild concept. But I was like, damn, he must be probably still fiending, because you know that Slayer's blood was like the fucking cream of the crop of blood, because it's like super juiced up. He got to suck the whole fucking body dry. Like Buffy was like fucking looking like that damn
not completely
skeleton on the bed behind Anne whenever, or I'm not Anne, Lily, whenever they were down in the dungeon thing and that dead guy's laying behind her. Anyway, a long time ago. The two go out so Doyle can grab a drink, and he continues to say connection to people is what matters. It gives them hope, and while they're helpless, and lets them know someone's there to save them. He lets Angel know he's not sure who the powers that be are, as apparently Courtney doesn't either, but admits they send him visions of people in need, aka mind-splitting migraine inducers. I like how he described that, and he was all like basically like AKA, and I was like, oh, look at him using AKA. But like, why are you gonna send him a mind-splitting migraine? He has these visions and he says he's got to take a full-on damn 5 Tylenol.
Like, isn't having the visions unfortunate enough, like, of an inconvenience if you can't control them? So it's like you could be doing something mad important and all of a sudden
and he's like half demon at that, so like if you're a demon, shouldn't you be able to control this like power going off in your head? Like, I mean, we haven't seen it yet. We will in the future. We'll see the flashes inside of his head, so that way we can kind of get an idea of like what we're dealing with, because this is kind of where the show's opening up, which I love as a concept. And my point about saying this, the fact that Angel has someone that's receiving visions to put him on his like day-to-day tasks, essentially saying like that's how we're going to get through episode by episode in a way, other than the other stuff that will upcome. I like saying like, I'm going to get this vision. This is going to be the issue we're dealing with this episode. We've got to try to like chase whatever the bad guy is I saw, or whatever the bad situation is. That's already so different than Buffy. Buffy is just like a monster shows up and we've got to try to like get it the fuck out of here. Yeah. That's not really the case anymore. So it's a fun little twist. Doyle does note that he had a vision this morning and gives Angel a paper that has a scribbled written message on it stating Tina coffee spot 5 p.m. Except it doesn't really say that. I think it says like 5 something M. Like they just scribbled some shit on there. I was like, how Angel supposed to read this shit? Who knows? But this is a person that Angel is meant to help. I mentioned whenever we were watching it in real time together, I was saying while they were walking and talking, Doyle reminded me a lot of Whistler from the Becoming arc, because he was like who showed up and told Angel like, hey, you need to get out the alley, you need to stop eating these rats up in here, you need to have more purpose. So he took him to Los Angeles, oddly enough, and showed him Buffy getting called, and then eventually he's like, I want to help her, I want to do all this stuff, whatever. Whistler originally put Angel on the path to connect to Buffy and help reframe the life that he was living. And fun fact, Doyle being here is kind of by chance, because originally they tried to get the actor to come back to play the role of Whistler again and be sent back to realign with Angel, but the actor was not available, so they had to create this Doyle character to do this whole vision thing with, because if you, like I said, in comparison wise, this guy's very similar to Whistler. Like, I don't even remember if Whistler, because it's been so long now, obviously, since we covered it, and I should, as a Buffy fan, know this, but, you know, Whistler obviously was telling Angel that he is, like, sent by higher powers, or, like, I don't think he said he got visions or anything like that, but he was sent to talk to Angel and figure things out, blah, blah, blah. So it kind of seems like this is, like, the regurgitation of that. Would have been interesting to see it. I'm kind of glad we got Doyle instead of Whistler, because we were all talking about and becoming how Whistler was kind of annoying us, stuff like that, but I thought it was really interesting that this is how we, like, chose to do things, and we got a new character out of it. Either way, Angel claims he's not good with people, and Doyle tells him that that's the point of this little exercise, asking Angel if he's game. Nothing comes of that right now, but very important for later and in general. We flash over to the coffee shop where Angel sits having a drink and watching blonde Tina, who works here, as she goes about life, aka her work shift. Angel fumbles awkwardly to talk to Tina when she passes, and the two are properly introduced when he does that whole Spider-Man quick reflex, catch the mug of coffee that she's about to drop on the floor bullshit. Like, I don't know if you remember that from the scene in Spider-Man when fucking Mary Jane goes to slip and he picks her fucking lunch tray up from her hands and, like, grabs all her fucking items, and they're all stacked back perfectly on the tray. I'm like, are they just making him like now he's Batman and Spider-Man? Like, it's so funny. But it also, like, lets you know, obviously, the Angel has, like, these hyper reflexes. He's a vampire.
Like,
it's cool.
I feel like is it like the typical upgrade if you move to LA as, like, either a hero or a villain, like, you get, like, suited up somehow.
Well,
like you're saying, you go raid the place, and then you got to stay real low key, like Angel's been, because you just robbed a whole fucking arsenal from a store. So
literally,
that's literally why he stayed in isolation.
It's so awkward too, because he's, like, sitting there, like, Tina goes to walk by, and he, like, tries to start it being like, because there's that person that's also in there, and he's got a dog that's, like, chilling on the floor. He's like, cute little doggy, isn't it? And then she just passes by him, and he's like, yeah, I wasn't talking to myself or anything. It's just fucking funny to see Angel try to, like, do this.
But what is that even? I'm like, you are talking to yourself.
If I were Angel, I'd probably be like my awkward normal self and just walk up and be like, hey, so I got this message about, like, something. I mean, it probably would have spooked the fuck out of poor little Tina, because we already know this bitch is on edge, but, like, let her know, like, hey, there's, like, these people that are possibly out of you. I'm not sure who they are or what's going on. I just got basically a message to protect you. So, like, let's do this, versus, like, trying to ingratiate myself into your life and figure out, like, the way to be a creep and, like, throw you off anyways. Like, it's just the whole thing. I don't know. Either that or he just really needs to sit in front of the mirror for a little bit and practice, like, coming on to people, but that would really work for him.
That's not.
He does eventually obviously gain her attention, and saving some of her income, because, you know, she didn't break the mug and all. She's like, thanks, these come out of my check. And I'm like, well, you better be glad, because apparently you done dropped a lot of these this month and you can't be affording that because Los Angeles rent's high. She's very happy that he's got an observant demeanor, and she's just as observant, smiling at the fact that he doesn't seem to ask girls out often, because obviously they have this whole awkward exchange, and she even calls him out, and she's like, you don't ask people out often, do you? And he's like, no. He's like, I've been obsessed with the same girl for a really long time. So there's that. He laughs and point out that she didn't even answer him whenever he asked if she's happy awkwardly. Like, that was his, like, landing fucking targeted, what do they call that, pickup line? Like, he's like, hey, are you happy? And she's like, am I happy? What the fuck? But then she's like, you know, if you got a few hours, and he's like, do I look like I'm busy? You know, so there we go. We cut to hours later, because he's, like, told by her, like, I get off work at a certain time. He hangs out. She eventually comes outside where he's waiting by his car for her. And this bitch done changed her whole ass clothes into some formal outfit from her little diner wear, and threatens Angel with pepper spray immediately when she walks out. Talking about, I know who you are. Tell Russell he can fuck off. Leave me alone. Little girl, you looking cute right now. I'm gonna give you that. But this guy clearly has no idea who Russell is. Even contextually, I would be like, I don't think this is one of, like, Russell's guys. We know Russell's guys by the time we see the rest of this episode, and Russell's guys be done grabbed your ass and took the fuck off with you. Done threw you in a damn car like they fucking doing their damn what do they call that? Trafficking. Like, it's basically what's happened in this episode. It's like the Epstein files all over again. But
that's literally what I put in my notes. I was like, it's giving Epstein files.
Literally all over the place. That's like Russell's whole demeanor. That's everybody that works for him. Angel has to clarify that she's wrong, and she wonders why he was in there watching her. And then he claims that she looked lonely, and he figured they had something in common. She lowers the defenses and apologizes, letting him know that she's got relationship troubles. Clearly, bitch. Him asking who Russell is, and she deters, talking briefly about where she's from and how she just wants to honestly go back home there versus being here after her failed attempt at movie star success. And I'm like, oh God, they're doing that whole cliche bit about move to LA and try to become a movie star and then fail and all that, blah, blah, blah. She shifts to leave to attend a fabulous Hollywood party, though, and supposedly to collect money from her friend Margot hosting it. He offers her a ride, and she takes him up on it, which officially means he's her date to the party. They arrive as Margot is seen videotaping people and greets Tina and Mr. Hunk of Tall, Dark, and Handsome, because that's what she calls him. They move to grab a drink, and Angel asks again who Russell is, because he's still on this fucking who. He's like, I need you to be saying who Angel is, not who Russell is. I need to hear more about me and not Russell. I'm jealous already, because I'm a jealous boyfriend. She lets him know that he is someone that she made the mistake of trusting. Margot comes back over to steal her away for a bit, leaving Angel behind, where he encounters a man named Oliver that lets him know that he's clearly sexy and gives him a card because he can spot the world's best actor when he sees it. And this is just in case he needs a manager. I love this whole interaction because Angel's like, I don't act. And he's like, funny. And I'm like, dude, like, what the fuck? And he's like, this isn't a come on. I'm in a very serious relationship with like some fucking shit. I don't remember what the fuck he says, but I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So we're getting our first taste of gay people on the show. Like, they ain't even had in queer codedness at all. Like, but also this guy's like, you're so pretty. But I thought it was funny. And I don't know if this specifically was the reason. And I know we talked about this a really long time ago when we first started the series, but David Boreanaz was scouted for the show Buffy just because he was walking down the street with his dogs and somebody saw him out in their like apartment complex, was like, ooh, that guy's really cute. He should audition for Buffy because he looks like he would play like this tortured young, like whatever vampire dude. So obviously that worked out for him. But I wonder if this was like a play on that. This guy giving him the card and being like, you look the part. Like you clearly need to call me and get in contact. You know, that kind of thing.
That's so funny.
They part and Angel roams around before next encountering a voice he recognizes to be familiar as we find Cordelia Chase is chatting with people about acting. Everybody's an actor around here, apparently. He calls out to her and she turns in shock to be seeing him there in LA, wondering if he's living there. He is, and she apparently is too, in a small condo on the beach in Malibu, and he is surprised that she's acting, and she just says, you know, this happened miraculously for her. This bitch is putting on the front. She's acting right now. All right. That's what I'm going to say. You are an actress, Cordelia Chase. You have become one because you lie through your fucking teeth right now.
Mm-hmm.
She asks if he's still all grr, aka a vampire. There not being a cure for that. He explains that he is, and she seeks to clarify that he's still accursed with a soul evil versus just regular evil. And you know, he says yes, and she finds this ravishing. She ends the convo in true Cordy fashion to get back to her chats with the rich and famous.
Well, I better get mingly. I really should be talking to people that are somebody. But it was fun.
That's why I said, I was like, she's still herself, but kind of not.
I love it. And he all follows up talking about, it's nice to see that she's grown as a person. Like, so they got to let us know that Cordelia is still kind of like her same normal self. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny how like we see this version of her and then we get to see later what Cordelia is actually doing, because we're like right now led to believe that she's like actually made it for herself here. She came to town, she's doing the damn thing. Do we actually see her? Is this just like a little brief cameo? Like, I can't imagine, because I don't really remember my first time watching this through. But I remember being surprised at seeing Cordelia, but I've done seen the show so many times, so I know that Cordelia is a part of it. But I'm curious if when people saw this scene, if they were like, oh, look at, like, they just put Cordelia at this party because it seems like where Cordelia would be at. And you're just like, what is this?
Well, yeah, I think, I mean, for me personally, it's more like you wonder how often she's going to be there. You know, like it's giving the potential for every episode type stuff, but then it's also just giving the potential of like she's here in the city so we can throw her in as needed, you know. So it's like you don't really know. I don't, which is kind of fun. Like I really don't, but obviously I hope that we see a lot of her because I kind of like her here in this setting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
We'll see. Angel sees Tina looking stressed as Margot leaves her side, only to be approached by a creep man named Stacy she has to break away from and avoid before heading back over to Angel, asking if they can go. Down in the parking garage, Angel is flanked by two men in an elevator as they're trying to get the fuck off. Like, I like that whole sequence. He goes to walk off the elevator, and those men, like, grab him, like, because Tina's already made her way off. And I was like, if I go to walk off some elevator and these motherfuckers grab me and rush me back the fuck in there, I'm like, what the fuck? More... It's time. First angel drop of the cat feeder going off. So what's up, Brittany? Your favorite time is here. We can end the episode here. Just kidding. I think it's really funny that these guys, obviously, because they start to drag her and put her in a car. The doors close behind Angel and stuff. And boy, do these guys get the wrong idea. They're like thinking that they can just beat up this regular Joe that's hanging out with Tina. No, they just get their ass whooped in the fucking thing, because obviously the doors open back up as the car tries to go speed off and shit like that. And these two guys are laid out in the fucking damn elevator. Like, they learned real fucking quick. Today was not the day, and they picked the wrong fucking guy. Like, the actual epitome of the phrase "fuck around and find out." Reason being also, by the way, they were trying to kidnap and grab this bitch because Russell wants to see her. So we're already getting the idea again that Russell is, somebody that this bitch is fearing, also does not want to see, and does not want to tell Angel who he is for whatever reason. This is the funniest little scene because he hops in a car that literally looks exactly like his, and he tries to put his key in and get the car to start, and it won't do anything. And he looks to the right, like 4 parking spaces down, and sees his actual car sitting there. And I'm like, bruh. But it also lets you know that this show can be funny, because we're not used to seeing Angel be funny over on Buffy. He's always brooding and serious and like melancholy and all this other shit. So we get a chance to laugh kind of here. He quickly cuts off the men's car though with his own, and getting Tina out, he starts to pummel them. And these poor men don't realize is not only can they not attack him in an elevator and overpower him, that guns will not work on him either, because they're pointing them all up and down at Angel. But now Angel reverse Unos these motherfuckers and is now pointing their gun back at him. And then they threaten Angel, warning him not to get involved. Angel instructs Tina to get into his car as he punches the man out and leaves with her. Fucking crazy. Like, we already see Angel going off the fucking rails. Like, he's beating fucking ass left and right. These people are like, oh, you don't really want to get involved in this. You don't know what you're getting into. And Angel's like, I don't give a fuck what I'm getting into. I will beat all y'all's fucking asses with my bare fucking hands. Like, the fuck? I don't need no gadget, like Inspector Gadget fucking sleeve arm stakes for you guys. I don't need any of this, that, and the other. I just need these fucking hands. I'm gonna come correct with them, because you guys clearly don't know how to come correct with yours. Like, what you gonna do is shoot a vampire? This ain't Darla. Like, you better put them guns right on up.
But he also has detachable, like, claws, so...
Detachable claws?
Like, detachable claws or whatever the fuck he had on. He's, like, suited up with his gear.
Oh, detachable claws. Like, he's the fucking Black Panther now. Well, he's Spider-Man, the Black Panther. He's fucking... he's all these damn things.
He's Freddy Krueger.
He's done come up in here acting like he Blade now instead of Angel. Got it. With all these damn gadgets. Exactly. We then cut over to Cordelia's not so glamorous, rundown looking apartment that she's in, which honestly makes Faith's hotel look more like the Ritz. Putting away the stunning burgundy dress that she was wearing in her empty ass closet space, and listening to voicemails left from agents saying that she isn't booking auditions and that networks are tired of seeing her, which was kind of fucked up to really hear, letting us know that she's not actually an actress and is living a slum life. One that includes bringing home food from the party she's attended as sustenance. I really like that because it's such a small scene with Tina and Angel in the party where she picks up some of the finger food and it's like a star cutout sandwich. And she's like, oh, everyone's a star, and makes a joke. But then we get this moment right here where we see like Cordelia has taken home this food because later on doing her little meditation, she's like, I want something to eat, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I have no money to go buy food type thing. So this is how bad Cordelia's life is. Her closet's empty. She has hardly any clothes in here. That fucking dress that Xander bought her is nowhere in sight. I guess she had to sell that to pay rent. You know, she had a hard time letting that go from her grasp because we saw her in the prom holding on to that shit for dear life, holding it up in front of the mirror every 2 seconds so she could get a fucking chance. Like, not only that, bitch, you're in LA. What is the coin staple for the hard go-getting girl that cannot get by? What does she eat? SpaghettiOs. 14 cents at the store in fucking 1999, technically. We on the cusp of the early aughts. But if we can watch Buffy eat SpaghettiOs and Anne, Cordelia can't even afford some SpaghettiOs. She got to steal food from a party. How far she has fallen.
I know.
This is so crazy.
But it's like, it's a humbling journey for Cordelia, it seems.
It really is. Like, I'm like, oh my God. Like, we found you in the same situation Buffy was over in Anne. That is crazy. I do like, though, just to like kind of surmise again, Cordelia being on this show, like to have this character come over is like so perfect for Angel, because we needed the familiar face, and it helps us to continue to see like how Cordelia as a person can go through an evolution, how she can start to change, because we've always seen her as this attitude driven, like say it, don't spray it, but spray it, because that's Cordelia's motto. Like, I'm gonna say it, I don't have tact type thing. Like, it's a whole thing. But to see her status in the world change so much, and now she's over here still kind of struggling and stuff, like she hasn't just gotten better. We would expect for Cordelia to probably have hooked up with some rich guy by now or made better for herself, but no, she's still trying to clean up her fucking life, and it's just not working out for her, which is interesting, because as we'll go on to see the breadcrumb in a certain way, it kind of gives her a reason to atone and try to strive for something better for herself, which is like perfect to pair her alongside Angel, who was kind of trying to seek redemption himself in a certain way, even though like that's not necessarily what Cordelia's doing. I don't know how to make that make sense, but I thought that was a good reason to bring her over on the show, is like not only just for her fun character stuff that she can bring to the show, and the laughs and the jokes and the smart assery and all the other stuff. Like, you got to have that bitch on the show, you know? Back at Angel's, Tina's changed, and he's prepared tea for her, offering her a safe space to stay while they figure things out. She gets emotional at Angel's gentleman vibes, and he wants to know about Russell again, but she doesn't want him to bother with it, and he's apparently dangerous and won't go away. Also, how her friend Denise disappeared after trying to get away from Russell, never to be seen again. This bitch, she was like, you saved me from these people, do you want to fuck me? Like, that was like totally what was said. That was the best way to sum this up, because I didn't put it in the dialogue or the walkthrough, but I was like, she's like, you know, do you need like a reward type thing or something like that? And he's like, no, I don't actually want to do that. I just want to help. She's like, wow, you're really not like guys from around here. And I'm just like, bitch, you was about to hand it out to him because he saved your life.
Not only that, but he's like, it'd be funny if he was like, no, like if I get off, then everyone's life is ruined because I'll start killing everyone. So can't have that. In
theory, yes. Not the whole bust the nut thing, you know, we had that conversation, but if he actually felt feelings for her and had experienced happiness, not ejaculation, Courtney.
I know, I'm just saying.
I know, I'm joking, but there's that true thing. He's like, I can't get close to somebody because there could be the potential that I actually start to like you, and then that's not good for someone like me. You're not wrong, as Xander would say.
He's like, I'm Russell.
Well, I told you he wanted to be Russell. He wanted to be Angel. Hey, Russell. No one will make sense of that. And that's so funny that it just came up now. Like, the whole time I was writing the script, I never thought about Katie and Russell. I should have called him Russell the whole time. This is like a flashback to 2011 for me and Courtney, you guys. So I know it makes no sense, but it's funny to us. Either way, she tells Angel Russell always finds you, but Angel claims not anymore. Some time passes and Tina has fallen asleep. Angel noses through her contacts book in her purse because, you know, he's like, oh, she's asleep, let me go through her shit. Finding Denise's info, and then he heads to the public library to put on his best Jenny Calendar face to do research on the computer there. Like, do you remember when you had to go to the library to use a free computer because you didn't have one at your house?
Yes.
Like, wild enough. Like, when I used to go, because I remember specifically the Sumter Library, because it was 2 stories, and I used to check out Buffy books to read from there. There was this one book I remember being specifically read with a dragon on it, and it was called Immortal, and that was the first Buffy book I read, and then I was like, no, this one is not it. It sucks so bad, but all the rest of them were pretty good, because I started reading the ones that like Nancy Holden, I think, wrote, and they were like spinoffs of like seasons, like little random episodes she almost inserted herself in for Monsters of the Week, but it was still dealing with like the overall arc of, you know, like what was going on in an actual season versus being like a whole different story just using Buffy and the characters. I seem to never really care for those books. I don't have an imagination to read books in that way. But I also used to, at that specific library, use their printer to print off pictures of Buffy to take home and put on my wall. They were like 5 cents. They were literally like 5 cents a page, and I'd be like, Dad, give me $1 so I can, you know, have like 50,
you're like, buy lunch
fucking...
and you're like, come back with a stack of Buffy pictures.
Yep. It was good times. That's crazy. I saw him in here and I was like, damn, he ain't got no laptop. He can just flip up in real quick and just like search. He ain't got no damn iPhone. He can just Google real quick. Like, hey Siri, nothing. Like, what the fuck? I was like, damn.
And you got to think he's got to go to the library at nighttime.
Oh, true. Damn, is it daytime when she's sleeping in here? Is it later on? It must be later on that night. I can't remember what it showed outside. I'm sure it did. But like, this much motherfucker must
It'd be
be
funny if they showed him walking in the sun and no one caught it.
You mean fucking...
And here we are catching dumb shit like, well, how can they smoke a cigarette?
Exactly. Well, in his search, he does find that Denise surely did disappear, but also was a body that was recovered featuring the same tattoo that she had on her body. And there's not record of her being deceased, which means that the body was left unidentified. Almost like a cover-up, one might say. And then, flash forward to Wolfram and Hart covering up dead bodies all the fucking time. I'm like, ugh. Angel makes it back to his home, hearing Tina having a nightmare, waking her and in her alert nature, letting her know he thinks that she was right about Denise. This bitch just woke up and he's like, by the way, your friend's dead. Like, she already waking up from a scary ass damn dream. First? Well, she is awake, but like, you just, Angel, read the room. I'm gonna need you to do that because she's having a nightmare. Clearly, she woke up, she's freaking out, your fucking arm's shaking. You pull her back and you look at her, and the first thing you ain't gonna say, "Are you okay? Were you having a bad dream?" It's your friend's dead. I mean, he says it a lot more gracefully. He's like, I think your friend actually might be dead. I think you're right about Russell. I get it. Like, Russell. But... Angel wild. He's just out here doing the damn thing. No wonder Tina gets fucking killed in 5 minutes. Wow.
I'm gonna go unlock the door real quick.
All right, great.
I'll be back in 1 minute.
All right, great. Do 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 do. Do, gotta let Meredith in because the screen door is locked, so no one comes in and kills you or Nixon. Meanwhile, Nixon, the actual threat in there with that damn Nixon neck slice. Fucking crazy. I'm gonna leave all this in while she's gone, you guys. We're just waiting for her to get back so we can continue the actual episode. Wow. You should have heard the song I sang.
What was it?
I'll have to play it for you and send it to you in a recording whenever I go to edit the episode because I'm gonna leave it in for everybody. All right, she's back. We can continue. Courtney's back, not Denise. Denise is dead. Angel makes it back to his home. Oh no, I already said that he's heard the nightmare. I was making jokes about Denise being dead and Angel having no fucking tact. While Angel sits there consoling her about Denise's death and her upsetness, this is some very unfortunate timing because this bitch eyes over on the fucking ledge. Angel just left this damn paper that Doyle gave him. I'll call it absent-mindedly, but I don't think that was so absent because, like, Angel, you're a fucking 200-something-year-old vampire. You gotta be smarter and have better tactics than this. She sees that damn paper crumpled up over on there talking about Tina, 5 p.m., coffee house, and this bitch freaks the fuck out. Yes, you should do more stuff like that in the podcast because I love that. She freaks grabbing her shit. She freaks out, as Courtney said, grabbing her shit to go. Him stating it's complicated, but she thinks that this is a game of Russell's to get in her head. She runs out and upstairs, Angel chasing her, but she pulls his arm, grabbing him and pulling him into the sunlight a little bit where, his arm begins to smoke. In pain, he goes full vamp face and stuns her, and then this bitch runs out into the street and leaves him behind because, he cannot follow. What a way to find out someone's a vampire. Gasp, Angel's a vampire. Crazy. But also, now you got to go in here and fucking bandage up your arm and get some alcohol wipes and shit like that because you done fucking got boils and shit like that. Like, no. Tina's having a rough spot. But I'd be freaking out too because she ain't never seen one of these creatures before. And unfortunately for her, this is not the last one that she's going to see. Because we find Tina later in her apartment packing up some of her belongings and hopes to leave, grabbing a gun from her drawer during this. Because, like, I love it. You were like, Russell's up in there. Like, when we were watching it. And I was like, damn, how's she know? Because she's got context clues and common sense. Mm-hmm. But we see the gun in the drawer, and then she turns around and, like, points it at Russell, who is standing in the room behind her. She asks for the truth about Denise, and he lies, of course, about how she's all fine and dandy living back at home where he bought her a ticket just recently and how he's just talked to her on the phone yesterday and she's the best. Okay, but Angel just told her that
exactly that
she was dead. I'm like, which one's telling the truth? I believe Angel. Just saying. I know Tina might not believe Angel, and Tina's got a lot going on in her life with all these men that she's like getting herself in around. She's clearly went around with the wrong crowd. I'm just gonna say that. But this is very unfortunate for Tina because she don't know who to believe now. Russell makes his way to her and she lowers her guard because, he's like, who's been filling your head with all this stuff? And, it's all nonsense because, again, I talked to Denise yesterday. We're best friends. She's going to FaceTime.
I'd be like, call her.
Literally, though. Thank you. My literal next statement was like, okay, well, but can we give her a little ring real quick? Like, we need to something. Do you have a picture of you hanging out with her? Do you have the flight ticket plan for where you bought her a ticket back home? Mm-hmm. What job is she working? I'm going to go have lunch there. Like, anything. No. Tina, you dumb. She claims she doesn't know and thought that maybe Russell had sent this guy that's been filling her head with all the nonsense, and cries, stating that he turned into the most horrible thing that she's ever seen. Russell revealing now that he too is the most horrible thing that she's ever seen, aka a vampire, as he vamps out and bites into this bitch's neck. Tina, now you did. But also, like, has he been over there before? Because how did he get inside? I'm assuming he's been there before because she's been in cohorts with him in some way, shape, or form. So he's probably been over to like talk to her. And obviously, just like, he doesn't want to play this game with Cordelia, as we see later, because he's like, I'm just actually hungry, so bring her over here. But like Denise, Tina, the other girls that Margot is probably recording on cameras and sending him videos of, they're like, because like Lindsay says later, should we consider her another long-term investment? It's a game that Russell likes to play. We get this idea of where he likes to basically say that he's going to help these girls and play like that whole Dracula kind of vibe vampire thing where he's going to like lure them in and make them fiend for him, make them trust him and do all this stuff. And then he's going to deceive them, aka by a bite to the neck and kill them, drink their blood like it's a fucking V8 fusion drink. I don't know. Like, wow. But Tina's dead, and this is an interesting thing for him because he has fucking, I don't know, immunity, I guess I should say, because he gets away with all this shit. It's just another fucking cover up. This is another Denise. Tomorrow Angel's gonna come talk to him and he's gonna be like, where's Tina? Thankfully he found Tina dead in a second, but if he hadn't, he would have been like, where's Tina? He'd be like, oh, I just bought her a plane ticket back home. I just talked to her 5 minutes ago. Like, boy, shut the fuck up. I will say that I really like any other past time, Tina has just been this expendable character in my mindset. Like the past few rewatches, though, like watching it the last couple of times I've seen the episode, not even just for the podcast, I found myself liking the inclusion of Tina for the episode and all these girls, even though we don't really get to meet Denise or any of the other girls he's done this with. But Tina specifically, I think it was a nice aspect to explore on the show because obviously a lot of people do move to LA with hopes and big dreams of like becoming something, no matter whether that means an actress, a singer, or like whatever the platform for it is. And often they tend to get aligned with like the wrong people and it gets their course a little off for themselves, and then something 9 times out of 10 seems to like horrible happen to them. And I think this episode portrays that really well, like through our monsters. I guess obviously we're dealing with a vampire that's doing something in this weird shady situation, so it is still like monsters as metaphor, but in general this happens so much so it's like a real life like situation. So I found myself, like I said, this time and the last couple of times actually really liking the fact that we have Tina in this episode, whereas like back in the day when I'd watched it, I'd be like, oh yeah, where's Cordelia and Doyle to get back on the screen? Like, where does all this wasted time with this Tina story? Like, they're just trying to like put another blonde on the screen for Angel to be attracted to or something like that. They're trying to bring a Buffy around on the show because until she dies, I didn't know that she wasn't going to be a character that was going to be on the show or working alongside Angel or something. You know what I mean? Just like what you said earlier about how much is Cordelia going to be on the show. Was Tina going to be a character that we were going to see all the time? No, she was not.
Clearly.
But I like that aspect of things. I thought that was really cool because I was like, that is totally what happens in Los Angeles all the time. And what a great way to start the story in a place like this, as we kind of like prefaced in our opening thoughts. Angel then arrives at Tina's moments later, conveniently to find her dead body drained on the floor, and she's dead in her home. I guess he went through the sewers to get here and found a way to get inside and stuff because it's still daylight outside. Eventually, nightfall does occur, and we see that he's across the way on top of a building, kind of looming down like Batman does, watching as police through the windows, like corners bag up Tina's body and does all this. And I say that specifically Batman-wise because this motherfucker takes a step and just leaps off the roof and just drops down. Very Batman style. Like, now Batman of course uses his little grapple hooks and gadgets to safely get down, or his like cape to fly or whatever, but Angel low-key, like I thought that was a cool power move for him because he could hop off I mean, I don't know if he could fall off a fucking building like as tall as like Russell gets kicked out of later. But, you know, something a few stories high, like a standard 5-story building, he could actually probably walk off and land on his feet. And I mean, he might hurt his body a little bit, but he's got super strength.
I would assume
So he just
so.
lands like Spider-Man or some shit. Once again, another fucking
Like a
superhero,
cat.
or a fucking cat. Yes, we need to get Angel a cat feeder that disperses blood
with rats in it.
No, I'm dead. Well, Angel arrives back at his home on a mission. Doyle is with him, and he orders him to find the car Stacy was driving so he can track down this guy, and tells him to check out body shops since that car had been damaged. Doyle tries to console Angel over what's happened and how he doesn't need to cut himself off. Angel expressing he doesn't want to share his feelings or open up. He wants to find Russell. Doyle questioning, then what?
Then I'm going to share my feelings.
Me and you both was like, ooh, like I liked you because you're like, oh, I like this, Angel. Like, I don't remember, that's not exactly what you said, but you said something along those lines. And I was like, oh shit, all right, cool. And like, just to point out too, I think I said it when we were doing our recording for the freshmen, but watching these two back to back, you were so much more like glued eyes to the screen for this episode of Angel than you were for like Buffy. Not that you were distracted or not watching the episode, but I felt and saw this intensity of like you actually being like, what is this show? Like, what am I watching right now type thing, you know?
I like anything snarky though.
Apparently. I love it. It's the snarks for me.
Exactly.
We flash over to Russell's mansion during the day where a lawyer is chatting with him as he watches the video footage Margot had taken at the party, arriving at Tina on cam and him speaking to be sorry to have killed her so soon, as she was something special. Yeah, okay, whatever, man. The lawyer pulls out papers and says that they are covering up any interactions Russell had with Tina as of late and a fake alibi of where Russell was when Tina was murdered. The lawyer lets him know that Wolfram and Hart law firm have his back so his life can run smoothly. I was like, this is some bullshit. Like, I need this in my life so that way I can do shady shit all the fucking time. Like, that would be just the life, I guess. Like, I mean, not really, because then I would basically, you know, everybody else that's on the Epstein files. But this was the part that to me, between this and later on when Lindsay says, like, my client has never been convicted or shall never be convicted of any crimes or felonies or, like, no problems will come to him type shit. I was like, this is exactly what's happening in this day and time. Like, something.
Oh, this has happened forever.
Well, of course, yes. The cover-ups have always been happening. That's why I said LA was this. But I was just like, how applicable this is so fresh in media now that this is all we're talking about right now. And now we're covering this show where like the same type of stuff is happening. And like you just said, it's always been occurring. It's kind of sickening. It lets you know people in positions of power, they really do, because they have money and position.
It's really just money as power at the end of the day.
Power dynamic sucks. Like, that's what I'm saying. And that's more so my joke, what I meant. Like, I wish this could be me. Like, I wish I had so much money. I could just be like, well, you know, I get pulled over by a cop. I'd just be like, here's a $500 bill. And they'd be like, yes, sir, I actually did not see you speeding. Goodbye. Like, you know what I mean? Because $500 bills exist. But, you know, like shit like that, the small ways. I don't want to do it because like I've done something awful and I want to cover it up. Because unlike some of these people,
you just want to use it as like a perk, basically.
I take accountability for the actions that I've done, as do.
But I also don't see you going to do anything intentionally diabolical, like having a sex trafficking ring like Epstein or like,
no,
you know what I mean?
I don't. If I'm getting gunned down, it's because I stole a bunch of Buffy box sets and comics and stuff from some like store or like, you know, like got away with.
Meanwhile, the reason I'm getting gunned down is because I either stole like a bunch of weed or.
Yep, there's that. Robbed a dispensary, went to an animal shelter and stole 47 cats. Like,
literally,
that's me. That's what I'm getting arrested for. Like, so fuck. But I ain't got time for that because then I'm gonna have to buy 8 more cat feeders, and I don't got the money for that right now. So. Russell pauses the video footage on a fresh face, that of our Cordelia, noting he isn't interested in games with her. He would just like her brought here for him to feed on, which was kind of fucked up. I was like, damn, Cordelia catching strays. Because he's like, should I consider this another long-term investment, sir? And he's like, no, I'm just hungry.
He's like, just a snack.
She's just hot, so I just want to eat her. Like, one, disgusting, but also that's Cordelia Chase you're talking about, good sir. You need to invest in her because out of everything, this poor bitch is eating little star sandwiches she brought home from a party. She needs this investment, sir. Please invest in her because she's not investing in herself right now.
She's unable to.
Dad. We then clip over to the gym belonging to Stacy. Apparently Stacy has his whole ass gym at like Angel, and nobody else is going to find him doing wrongdoings, but whatever. Inside, he's chatting to someone before Angel tosses a trash can through its window, gaining entry and then interrogating Stacy on where to find Russell, letting him know he's well aware of what Russell is.
Russell, let me guess. Not big on the daylight or the mirrors. Drinks a lot of V8. You get in his way, he'll kill you. He'll kill everyone you care about.
It reminded me of like the freshman whenever he's like, they sleep all day and have no tans. Like, I'm like, these writers out here trying to find every way but to say someone is a vampire on these shows now. So dead. But then I wrote my notes immediately whenever he said V8, and I was like, hopefully it's not the icky vegetable one, it's the mango one that we used to drink all the time.
Exactly.
It's the only one worth it in my eyes. I haven't had a V8 mango juice in forever, mostly because they're like loaded in toxic sugars and things that are probably awful for your body. So I would rather squirt a mango into my mouth and have fresh mango juice if we're going to go that route. But we used to fuck that shit up all the damn time.
Yes, we did.
Stacy warns if Angel gets in Russell's way, he will kill him and anyone who he cares about. And Angel confirms there's no one left that I care about. Which kind of true, but also not so much, because I like how the show does this. We immediately cut over to Cordelia attempting to meditate in her apartment, and we know that he will learn to care about her because he's going to go save her in a little bit. But she's also trying to give herself positive verbal affirmations. Apparently she was just on the phone with Joyce a little bit ago, and she can't concentrate over her stomach grumbles, which we can clearly hear. And we find out our girl is starving. The phone rings and she hops up to answer it so fucking fast. Margot on the other end telling her that she was a hit at the party and how she's never going to guess who saw her video and wants to meet with Cordy.
A director? A manager? An assistant to an assistant who wants to spring for lunch?
Cordelia, calm the fucking down. No, it's Russell Winters. She's like, the investment guy? What the fuck does he want to meet with me for? It's like, she's very confused. But Margot says, no, this bitch, like, he knows everyone. He helps jumpstart careers. He definitely doesn't have a ring or a private island that he would take little girls to, like, at all. No, sirree. Wink, wink, wink. You know Russell's been on that plane before he became a vampire. He was going on trips back and forth. He was Jeffrey's best friend. Both Dahmer and Epstein. Either way, she offers again that he really wants to meet with Cordelia tonight and how he will send a limo for her that evening. I wrote my notes right here. I said, okay, first off, fuck Margot. We don't like Margot because I did not like her this whole time because of the vibes that she gives off.
Margot's Ghislaine Maxwell, which is Jeffrey Epstein's sister.
Exactly. Mara Largo, it must be her name and not Margot. No, sorry. I ain't got time for that. But that shit kills me. Like, they didn't even give her option. She's like, oh, he's coming for you. We'll send a limo. Like, where's Cordelia's autonomy for her to be like,
I'm sorry, I'm still dying over the Mar-a-Lago thing.
Well, listen, this is what I continue to write about Mar-a-Lago in my notes. This shady bitch, it's always a Margot. That was what shady ass Alyssa Milano's name in the movie Fear was. Reese Witherspoon's little best friend that was like fucking her boyfriend and getting her into toxic situations and shit like that. Like, literally, right? I was like, she was a shitty friend in that movie and shady, so I must be a Margot thing. It's just this whole thing. I was like, but this bitch Margot is setting up Russell with these women and clearly filming at her parties for a reason, which leads me to believe that she's in cahoots with him, either unknowingly, what truly is like her getting paid for behind the scenes, or as she's on the phone talking to Cordelia, we see her opening up a fucking bottle of vodka and pouring her damn fucking middle of the day fucking 1:30 in the afternoon scotch and whiskey or fucking vodka with a twist, whatever the fuck she's making, while she's popping fucking pills. I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. This explains everything. You're a fucking pillhead, and this guy supplies you with all the alcohol, the parties, the money, the riches, and things for you to like do the shady dealings behind to get him these people for him to do. So you're also working with the law firm and all this other shady corporative people. Got it. I hate these type of people. Even though I was talking about I wanted to like be paired up with them so I can get some perks, but not. And I'm not talking about Percocets that Margaret was taking, but wild. We flash over to Angels, who is bagging up weapons and shit to go to Russell's place, telling Doyle that he's coming along before we clip to Cordy in that limo, reaffirming her earlier affirmations and how they clearly worked out for her. Cordelia, they sure did not, but okay. She makes it to Russell's mansion, being led inside by the butler, taking in his nice ass home. This house is really fucking nice, I will say. I mean, this is the first like really like nice set that we've seen like on either show. We don't see stuff like this very often. But welcome to LA. The butler drops her off in Russell's study, and the two greet one another, Cordelia complimenting him and emphasizing his curtains that are in plenty, which for a reason later. But Russell claims he's got old-fashioned taste for his home. Cordelia explains that she too also used to live in a really nice home, until her father got into troubles with the IRS and how they took everything. I was like, oh, okay, so they got to let us also know what happened to Cordelia and her past to why she's living such a crummy life on this show, just for the people that didn't watch Cordelia on
just in case.
That sucks that they did this to people. I'm like, bruh, like, show all the flashbacks. Tell everybody to go watch the last episode of Buffy or something like that, if anything. I don't know. Fuck. The Prom, that's a good episode to start with. Russell asks about Cordy's acting career, and Cordy tries to gas it up, but quickly admits it's not everything that she's been hoping it would be. I love this bit. She's talking about the hands in the, like, dish detergent commercial were almost mine by, like, 2 or 3 girls. Like, by 2, they were almost yours by 2 or 3 girls. Cordelia, like, why are you lying to yourself? Outside, Angel arrives in a Hawaiian shirt as disguise, because now that he's a detective and he's got to be undercover sometimes, he's got to put on fake gimmicks to, like, look the part. What the fuck? Angel, like, what is happening? He just wanted to look normal, I guess, to, like, make it up to the security guard so that way he can punch him out, because that's exactly what he does. And then he tells Doyle, like, if I'm not out in 10 minutes and I'm not coming out, you need to stay here and wait for me in the car. We cut back inside, and Cordelia is growing sad, talking about her failures, tearing up about how she knows nobody and, like, has no friends here, which is kind of sad for, like, a moment for Cordelia, because we're like, damn, like, Cordelia, you ain't even got the shitty friends that you used to have on the old show. Like, you literally are so alone. And your friend Margot that you've done linked up with is clearly not the person you need to be linking up with, because now she done linked you up with this guy who kills girls. Like, no, not the vibe. Russell confirms she knows him now and asks her to tell him what she wants. She continues to get weepy and gets up, looking around, quote unquote, wanting to check herself, because she's like eyeing the room around, and she's like, okay, I'm growing nervous now, because then she's like, I guess she wants to, like, clean up her makeup and check her face, because that's a Cordelia typical thing to do. But this bitch is baffled, and she, like, turns around and looks at him. She's like, here I am, invited to this nice place where this motherfucker has no mirrors and lots of curtains. And then she turns and looks at Russell and is very clued in and blatantly just points out in Cordelia fashion,
Hey, you're a vampire.
What? No, I'm not.
R2?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm from Sunnydale. We had our own Hellmouth. I think I know a vampire when I am alone with him in his fortress-like home. And, I think I'm just feeling a little lightheaded from hunger. I'm just wacky. I'm kidding.
this motherfucker has the audacity to go, what? No, I'm not. Like, okay, that was convincing. You motherfuckers need to learn how to lie, especially before our eyeballs, because we see what we know that you don't want us to know, that we are clearly going to find out. But she backs away, trying to take away her statements, realizing that she's not in really a position favorable to her, because, she's not a vampire slayer. They gave her the 2 caper slay last season in the finale, but they were like, we don't know if you could take on a vampire hand. Sorry, Cordelia, you're dead. He's glad that she knows, though, and he vamps out quick so they can skip all that other bullshit that he was going to play up tonight before feeding on her. Outside, we see Angel toying around with the electric box. I like when he was out there fumbling with, you're like, what the fuck is he doing? We get to see, but I was like, oh my God, Angel, you were doing the absolute most. Not only is he a detective, not only is he a superhero, he's an electrician now, and he knows how to, like, get his little wires out. And, like, he's got those little sets tools that everybody uses in the movies and TV shows to lock pick doors and shit like that. He's got them shit tied up in his bag. Exactly. Like, yeah, he's also a locksmith. Like, Angel is a jack of all trades now that he's come to LA. He's been sourcing out job after job, workforce training after workforce training. His resume is building up to be able to do stuff, but he needs all these different identities so he can have to cover up for when he's out here killing vampires and stuff. He'd be like, nah, I'm just an electrician. Nah, I'm just a locksmith. Like, call me if you need me. I can do anything and all. Everything.
I'm just Spider-Man.
Literally. He said, my name is Peter Parker. No, actually, he's Bruce Wayne, because right now he uses the grapple hook to get up on the balcony, gaining entry inside the building, because, he's been set up this fucking, like, thing to blow up in 2 seconds. Cordelia is being slow chased by Russell inside, who finally grabs her, attempting to bite her upstairs when the electric box explodes and the lights go out. And I like this because whenever the electric box exploded, you went, oh, okay. You were clued in, because when the lights all go out, you're like, okay, that was what he was.
That makes more sense.
Either way, distraction accomplished. Angel appears out of the shadows, calling out Russell's name. Russell Winters. Winters coming. Saying he has a message from Tina. Russell replies, Angel made a big mistake coming here. And Cordy looks to Russell, smirking to voice how Russell doesn't know who he is. I love it. Like, Angel's in the dark, and like Cordelia clearly hears his voice, and she's like, Angel? Like, oh God, here we go with the Angel shit. But I'm like, Cordelia, clearly you know people's voices very well, because normal Cordelia would be like, who the fuck is that? Until he steps out of the shadows. But I like it for playing off of this, because she steps back and smirks from Russell, and she's like, you don't know who he is. And then she gives him the fucking awesome quote of, boy, you don't know how much you're about to get your ass kicked. I love Cordelia's face, the way she says it too. Like, Cordelia's also got eyebrows like you that just fucking are beyond. They have the best arches, and the way she does this snarky fucking bit with her face, like, very awesome charisma, Carpenter. We're going to give you kudos on that. Angel and Russell start to fight, but are interrupted when security guards start approaching to help Russell, firing guns into Angel's back, which are, obviously useless to vampires, but probably don't feel too good. He does grab Cordelia and leap off the fucking second floor with her ass, because this is what Batman would do in the fucking movies. And he exits the main entrance with her. Doyle hearing the gunfire and starts to speed off, freaking out. And I love whenever he tailed off and left, your ass was like, what the fuck? Like, you thought Doyle was like literally leaving, and he was for like a second, because he's like, fuck this, like, I ain't trying to get shot. Like, he said, I've been sent to give you visions, not get my ass blown the fuck up. Like, bye. But he second guesses it, and he's like, nah, fuck, I gotta fucking help. So he spins the car back around and tries to ram the fucking gate to open it up. But that gate is sturdy as fuck and does nothing but stop Angel's car. Mm-hmm. Which is so funny, because Angel arrives obviously outside with Cordelia, and before they get in the car, Doyle's like, no reason it's smoking, I promise. Like, I had a little incident, it's fine. But it clearly, like, he could have just ruined their getaway car by jamming it into a fucking iron damn fence, like, where they can't even get away now because they're all on foot. Great, now some people are running down fucking Hollywood Boulevard shooting you in the fucking back more. Like, okay. No. Regardless, they do make it out, and back at Angel's home, they're pulling the bullets out and bandaging him while Cordelia talks about how she's safe now. Or is she? Angel, knowing Russell will tie up loose ends and comfort her again, just looks at her. The next day at Russell's Enterprise, because he has a whole fucking enterprise, literally named Russell's Enterprise. At this building, he sits in his office with several lawyers, along with the one that we met earlier, Lindsay, having him sign papers and telling him that they have no idea who the intruder was at Russell's home the night before, but how they've got everyone working to find out who he is and his whereabouts, which are in the room, because Angel fucking opens the door and walks in, making a grand entrance. And we're like, the fuck? I love it, because like, it's like right as that sentence passes out of his mouth, Angel just walks in the room. They're like, well, I guess his whereabouts are in the room. Lindsay cuts Angel off, giving him a Wolfram & Hart business card, telling him that their client is safeguarded by them, and if Angel continues to harass him, then they will be forced to bring him into the light of day, aka
place I'm told it's not all that healthy for you.
They gotta find some way every 2 seconds to make some kind of vampire joke, like whether it be V8 or fucking like sleep all day and no tans. Like, I'm gonna keep bringing that up for the start of this series, because apparently season 4 of Buffy and Angel season 1 have got the fucking jokes for vampires. They're like, we're clowning out now, we ain't being so serious. Angel makes his way over to Russell as he greets Angel, telling him that they are both civilized men. They don't have to go around attacking each other, letting Angel know that he's got it made and follows the law, for the most part anyways, and in return he gets to do anything he wants. And Angel smirks, kneels down, propping his foot onto Russell's chair, asking him, oh, so you can do it all? Well, can you fly? And then he kicks the fucking chair back as it crashes out the window. Russell's face when he goes slinging backwards and then the fucking window breaks, oh my God, priceless. We see him falling down several stories, but eventually giving us the 2K per sun slay of him before he hits the fucking ground. But the dusty chair does. And I love that effect. Like, you went on a whole tangent afterwards. You're like, all right, that was a cool fucking kill. I love the whole thing.
Was.
Not only do we see him falling, like, we literally see the sun starting to burn him up, boils occurring on his face. Like, he did not get the treatment like most vampires get on the show, where you just, as Buffy would say, bam, boom, stick, poof. He deserved like pain before he dusted. I'm just gonna say, like, he needed all that.
Agreed.
But cool way to do it. He's out the fucking door. Like, what a boss ass fucking move for Angel to fucking basically assert himself in this room of wrongdoers and be like, And then he tucks the fucking card back in Lindsay's pocket, and he's like expressing, well, I guess he couldn't fly. Now we're making jokes, Angel. Okay.
Oh, I love it.
Lindsay then makes a call, noting on the phone that they have a new player in town, but how they don't want to alert the senior partners to this. Not yet. Kind of eerie, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Curious for you, what do you think this company, Wolfram and Hart, like, what they're about?
I mean, not other than what's already obvious, kind of, but I don't know. I mean, obviously there's always more to any given situation, and it's the first episode, so
Sure.
it's clearly not as obvious, but yeah, so I have no idea. But
do you like their placement on the show as like, I'll say more in a second, and it'll kind of like maybe make a little bit more sense, but like this aspect of the show, like some, like not just monsters having to be dealt with, but now we're dealing with like almost like an evil law firm that helps cover stuff up for clearly vampires and possibly other demonic entities. If they're like covering up a vampire, imagine the rest of their like clients. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. And obviously it's not just any kind of like monster of the week, because those come out of the Hellmouth, you know, or what we're used to. So it's almost like this weird in between, which makes it more of a threat because they seemingly blend in with human beings, or at least this one did. So that part was kind of interesting to not know, because initially when you see Russell, you don't know kind of where his character's going and how, if he is something different or whatever. So that part was really interesting, that it wasn't, you know, just like Angel's walking somewhere in the cemetery and then he gets attacked by some demon. It's like this human being in essence. And we know that he's corrupt, which is normal in LA. You know, there's a sense of normalcy behind it. So then to tie in the vampire thing was pretty cool. So I hope there's like more of that. I'll say that as far as the agency is concerned and the kind of people or demons or vampires, whatever, that they assist.
I will say, like, not to spoil anything because it's not really a spoiler, but pretty much the lawyers that work at Wolfram and Hart, they are all humans. They're not like demons and stuff. They're just like shady doers and stuff in a certain way. Not always. They do normal stuff too because they're a law firm, but they do deal heavily with this type of world of stuff like that and things like that. And I like that aspect that you bring to the table on that. Like for Russell, our first person, obviously he's a, you know, corrupt guy doing shady stuff and whatever, but I think it's very interesting to be on par with Angel, the show about vampires, that he turned out to be a vampire doing these things. And like I said, as a breadcrumb, obviously we can see that these people might be working with other types of evildoers or like demons or things like that. David Greenwald, who, you know, wrote this episode, says that Joss came up with the idea for them because they needed some overarching villainous group. Nothing like monstrous or like so crazy as like Black Ops Extreme or like, you know, big military presence or things like that. Just a simple little law firm, and they represent the bad guy, not evil per se themselves. They just happen to represent and make deals for these type of people. So he wanted to like include it on the show so that way they had something else to like put out there with this. And I think you'll come to like, I would say like Wolfram and Hart for more so what they bring, like without again spoiling and stuff. It kind of brings like that edge, like Faith brought to the show, where it's like you don't really want to see her go down this route of evil, but it brings out this cool like aspect of like now Buffy has to fight some bad Slayer type thing, so you like it for what it does to the show type thing. So it'll be fun to see what you think moving forward as we continue to see more from Wolfram and Hart and what they do. Either way, back at his place, Angel sits on his bed, picking up the phone, dialing a number. We hear Buffy's voice on the other end pick up and say hello twice before he hangs up the phone on her. I love how when we were doing our freshman thing, we were like, what was that about? And you're like, I guess we'll find out. Like, how crazy. Did you like that little crossover mirror that we had there? Like, because we watched the episodes back to back. So I was low-key waiting for that thing. Because obviously over on Buffy, you just see her get a phone call. And I think whenever Angel hung up on her, you said, you were like, I had a feeling it was Angel calling Buffy or something like that. Like, but it's treated on the show on Buffy like somebody just called and like you're not really even thinking about it because there's so much going on over on her show. The last thing you're thinking about is Angel, because we don't see him like except for that moment in the bronze where she like has a hallucination and she thinks she sees Angel. Like, fun little crossover there. I love it because it, like I said, kind of connects the series and puts like the perspective of Angel attempting to reach out for Buffy because clearly he misses her and he's had his like first adventure, so it's almost like he's calling home to tell his friend about like what he just got into, you know. But I think he chooses to hang up the phone on her because he's reminded like of the work that they used to do alongside each other. But he second guesses himself because he's like, oh wait, hold on, if I dip into, it's like calling your ex, like, I mean, which is still the case for him, but like you open up a can of worms whenever you reach back out.
Yeah, you're restarting a process too that you're both in the middle of, when you're kind of trying to let someone go or you're grieving each other, and you want to also be respectful, I think is the takeaway I had from it. He's kind of like, nah, and you get to that point where you're like, what if they're happy and now it's like hearing from me is not as great as I think it's going to be for them, kind of thing. And then I feel selfish because I'm the one who was like, well, fuck your needs, I want to talk to you, so I'm gonna call you anyway, so I'm kind of glad he hung up because he doesn't really know where she's at, like mentally or emotionally or otherwise, and in addition to where she was at in that episode, I'm glad.
Yeah,
because like I don't even want to know.
That would have just been a whole other mess. I mean,
she'd be like, I'm gonna move to LA, I'm quitting college. This
literally
sucks.
though, like, because I mean she was having such a hard time, it probably would have been good for her to hear from Angel in certain ways, but also still, like, I come down on the side of what you're kind of saying, like it would have been almost worse.
It's just too vulnerable.
Yeah, it's not good. I'm glad you have that take on it too, because when I was young I used to like get really pissed off by the fact that he called her and hung up on her ass. I'm like, talk to her ass, like, call back, like, what are you doing?
Of course,
like,
if I was younger watching this, I would be like, you dumbass.
Exactly.
Like, what a romantic moment that could have been.
Yep. But no, I see it for exactly, like, I didn't even have to read out my last couple of sentences because you basically just said what I was gonna say. Like, that's 100% it. Like, they don't need to be going and creating that loop again and opening up that door, because,
and we've all done that with them too many times now. We're ready for an actual break.
Absolutely. Well, Doyle comes down there wondering what happened with Russell, and Angel clarifies he killed the vampire but didn't help anyone. So there's no need for the celebrations Doyle's wanting to have, because he's like, let's go out for a drink, let's celebrate, because that's how Irish people are, like, let's go to the pub. Doyle confirms that he's wrong because there's a girl upstairs that is happy as can be before we hear Cordelia scream, and then both running up to the office because they're like, what the fuck is going on? We're thinking Cordelia's getting attacked, but once they get out there, we see she's freaking out over a fucking cockroach. Once again, typical Cordelia. But also telling Angel first thing that they can do is call the exterminator, but then after that, holding a dusting wand and up there cleaning his space, because clearly he's not unpacked any boxes that are up there and done any of this other shit. Cordelia's doing it. How they should get a name put on the door because there's no sign. Angel's confused, and Cordelia tells him that Doyle has her in on his mission and speaks to how if they are going to be helping people out, maybe they should charge a little for their services, something to help pay the rent and Cordelia's salary, because sooner or later they may have to help some rich people, and that would be good for her because she needs some money in her pocket. So this bitch is unhired herself to work for Angel. She's like, oh, I heard you kind of want to open up a detective agency. Well, you need a secretary. Also, you need someone to clean this shit. Like, we ain't never seen Cordelia clean anything on either of these shows. So I'm like, well, what is happening here? Doyle agrees, and Cordy smirks to question that is if Angel thinks that he can use her help. Angel smiles at her, and she gets back to tidying up the office space, until her inevitable stardom reaches it, and then she can put all this behind her. Like, Cordelia had to, like, go out with this kind of shit. I'm like, she's like, I'm just here until I don't have to be. Like, oh my God. I love this so much because just like kind of right here, she's put herself back in this position where she can like help people again, because I made that comment over when we were watching Buffy, how Cordelia keeps being brought back into this world of helping people. So it kind of makes you wonder where her story is going to go. But I like this more for her because she's been kind of searching for her purpose. And now it seems like she's been put almost like with the powers that be back in front of Angel, someone that she's known for so long and worked alongside in certain ways before too, fighting the good fight, whatever you want to call it. And now she's making the actual personal choice to like be around it again, which is already so different than the Cordelia that we've ever seen. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't have to do it because of Xander, because she's dating somebody in the friend group or anything like that. It's like the Cordelia we started to see after she broke off from Xander last season. We had that whole slew of episodes where we're like, well, Cordelia's not really around the same way anymore. Like, they're putting her in here to be a little asshole here and there. But then towards the end, when Wesley kind of brought her back, I mean, obviously she was there for Wesley, but that kind of brought her back into where she's helping research again. She's trying to help like fight whoever the monster is this week, take down the mayor, all of that stuff. So it's really interesting how this keeps coming up for Cordelia. So once again, excited to see what you can see of Cordelia as we move forward. It's admitted also that Doyle thinks Cordelia being around is going to be great because she's a hottie, or as they say sickly, a stiffener. Like, I didn't catch that before, but he literally says she's quite a stiffener. I'm like, a stiffener of what? Oh, your dick in your pants. Got it. Okay, fun. Like, I get the play on words here. Whatever we want to call her. Doyle voices that there's a lot of people in this city who need help. Angel's noticed, and Doyle asks Angel one more time, "You game?" We cut to night where Angel stands on a rooftop looking over the city of LA, walking up to its edge with a determined look in his eye as the champion score trumpets sound off, voicing to himself,
I'm game.
walking off the screen as we fade to black, and here endeth the episode. All right, great. We did it.
We did.
I was reading a few reviews for the show, and they're like, they think the whole like thing at the end of him being like, "I'm game" is super cheesy and shit. But I was like, well, I must love cheese because I love this fucking moment. Because Doyle has asked him earlier in the episode if he's game, and he didn't say anything. And this basically is like the cheesy way of Angel saying, "I accept my mission. Like, I accept what I'm supposed to be doing," and stuff like that. And it lets you know the show has started basically at that point too. So you kind of leave being like, all right, cool. What are we going to get into? Episode 2, the stupidest episode of the season. I keep ragging on that episode. It's actually pretty good. 5 pages worth, but it's all right. As always, themes and metaphor. I got a little short one, which we've already pretty much talked about in our opening thoughts across the episode. But City of frames Angel as a story about choosing purpose in a city built to erase it. Los Angeles becomes a metaphor for illusion and exploitation, where vulnerable people like Tina are easy to overlook and power protects predators like Russell. Evil here isn't loud or chaotic. It's charming, wealthy. It's rarely held accountable. Doyle's visions represent conscious, the idea that once you see the suffering, you're responsible for responding to it. Cordelia keeps Angel connected to humanity, forcing him out of isolation and into action, the very thing Doyle is striving to get Angel back on track with. The introduction of Wolfram and Hart makes it clear that the real enemy isn't just demons, but systems that profit from harm. At its core, City of isn't about saving the city. It's about choosing to help anyway, even when the city doesn't change. It's like the easiest themes and metaphor ever, but I knew we were going to bring up stuff like that was already like in themes and metaphor, but this one in itself, like I'm like, ugh, how crazy to say like the city is going to be like this chaos that we have not seen. I'm so excited for the rest of the show. I have no Angel fun facts. All right, for the first time on this show, and as per usual, we're going to close off and finish out with our final slays.
Final slays.
Final slays. Angel, he's game. Talk about cheese.
That was a good one.
All right, quotes for this episode. Which ones did you choose so I don't steal all yours?
My first one was when Angel I think he was talking to Tina when he said that, and he was like, "I was there during the Depression," and then he has to backtrack and he's like, "My depression, I was depressed there."
But meanwhile, he was literally there during the Depression. I can't remember where the fuck she said she was from. Not important or relevant.
I was there during the Depression. And obviously when Angel's like, "Can you fly?" to Russell and proceeds to kill him that way.
Love that. I wrote Angel asking Doyle, "Why would a girl I don't know talk to me?" And Doyle is like, "Have you not looked in the mirror lately?" Meaning like he's attractive, but then he's like, "No, I guess you wouldn't have recently." Or actually, or whatever he says. I was like, all right, here we go with the vampire mirror bit. Like this, the funny shit that they're doing with the vampire stuff is literally so funny. I like whenever Cordelia obviously at the end is like, "Oh, you don't know who he is. Boy, you're about to get your ass kicked," because very literal, like that's exactly what was about to happen to Russell. And I love that Cordelia was the voice behind saying that and delivering that message. It was just perfect. That was my quotes for the episode. New category this time because we're not dealing with slayers and all the things, so we have nothing to shine on. On this show, we will be announcing who our champion is. So, who's your champion for this episode?
My kind of was a toss-up between Angel And Cordelia, Angel, for obvious reasons, just because we're beginning his journey here. He had to step out of his comfort zone of isolation, apparently. And yeah, he obviously kicks some ass along the way and kills Russell in a pretty savage, smart-assy kind of Buffy fashion. So here for that, but also Cordelia, just because we have to acknowledge that, like you said at the end, she could be leaving, as she should be leaving, and I would be leaving, or at least running back to like the comforts of I guess not home, because I guess her house isn't really what it used to be, but at least her hometown, or what she's used to, or her group of friends, or some sort of thing,
She's like
where she gets
embracing the unfamiliar.
Yeah, so I think she's willing to go through the humbling experience that we're seeing her go through, and that's obviously going to shape her character differently, as it seems to be already. And I like it. I like the mixture of her that we get in this episode, with the bits of her that are her normal, typical Cordelia self, and then this new element that leaves a lot of potential for like her character to grow. So, yeah, Cordelia is part of my not. What is it? Our champion. Yes.
I just chose Angel because duh. It literally says
Yeah.
that in my notes. Angel, duh.
Yeah.
Weekly Wiggins, because we still got that going on around here. What was giving you the wigs?
What one of the random things I don't even think we touched base on. I mean, we did a little bit, but for my weekly wigs, I put Cordy with Faith's motel room decor.
Damn. Faith catching strays.
And then obviously Russell and his whole entire self.
Yes. Russell was like my side up, like not my overall, like you would think it would be. But I initially wrote Russell, and then I ended up changing it when I was like really detailing out the script and like writing in some of my notes. And I was like, Margot is my weekly Wiggins. Because
that's actually a good one.
I don't know, just her like doing the videotape things and all this shit for Russell, like, which then in turn led to Russell being the villain and all this other stuff. I mean, I'm not saying led to him, because he was obviously doing that beforehand. To her just being that fucking bitch, like, I'm like,
Yeah.
It was just obviously giving all the vibes of Epstein and all this other shit. I'm like, we all know that's hella cringe, so I'm gonna skis out on Margot. Plus, she's a pillhead and over here drinking the fuck up in the middle of the damn day. I'm like, I'll smoke a blunt in the middle of the day, but you ain't gonna catch me drinking no fucking vodka soda. Like,
Hell no.
She wakes up and washes her mouth like Kesha with fucking Jack and all this other stuff. That slayed moment, because we still slaying on this show.
Obviously, when Angel asked Russell, "Can you fly?" and then proceeds to toss him out the damn window. So
I had to choose one different because I knew that was going to be an iconic one, because duh, 2 caper slay. But my opening 2 caper slays with Angel sliding those stakes from underneath his like jacket sleeves and staking the 2 vampires running up to him was my slayed moment, because dope as fuck. All right, Slayerette predictions, because you're still our Slayerette until the series is done for both of them. The next episode of Angel is entitled, the episode that I'm like really gassing up, Lonely Heart.
Lonely Heart. Well, it sounds like something that's really on brand with Angel. It sounds like more sulking, more isolation, maybe more crying over Buffy, maybe more calling Buffy and hanging up the phone.
Oh shit.
I don't know.
Stop. Oh my god, I'm dead.
That's what it's giving. It's giving single on Valentine's Day energy.
Huh, well, this might help a little bit. I'm going to do a thing where I'm going to show you a picture from the episode.
Okay, there's a girl there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another blonde.
A Buffy replacement.
Maybe. We'll see.
Oh,
She is a blonde girl. There's a picture of Angel in a club with a girl. We'll see. Maybe she has a heart that's lonely.
That might not be a good thing.
Not for him.
Yeah,
He's going to talk about like the way he did with Tina, talking about, well, I just thought you looked lonely and maybe we had something in common.
For some reason, I thought you were going to be like, there was a dog in the next episode, and he's going to try to do that pickup line where he's like, isn't this cute?
Oh my god. Well, I wish. No, that episode's interesting. It'll be fun to cover. It'll be a fun little like monster of the week one too. So, all right, everyone, that wraps our coverage for City of, and we're officially full swing into both shows. Only 42 more episodes to go this season now for both. Like, I'm gonna start detailing out the numbers all the time. That one's actually correct. Anyways, have you listeners all seen Angel the series, or is this the first time view? Do you only like Buffy and don't like Angel? Like, who knows? I don't want to know because I want to pretend that we all love Buffy and Angel. What do you think of it and this start to Angel and his redemption arc? Do you love the fact that Cordelia makes it over to the series? What are your first thoughts on Doyle? Let us know all the things. Of course, we'll be back next week to cover another episode of Buffy before returning back to Angel episode 2. So we will meet you all back here for that. Until then, don't trust shady lawyers. That's a given.
We're also winners.
Angel?
I have a message from Tina.
You made a very big mistake coming here.
You don't know who he is, do you? Oh boy, you're about to get your ass kicked.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Angel on Revamped. Be sure to join us next week for a new episode release as we continue the fight for redemption. We would love to hear from you, so share your thoughts and perspectives on this or previous week's episodes by following us on Instagram and sending us a DM at revamped_rewatch podcast, or by emailing us at revampedrewatchpod@gmail.com.
And if you're interested in a world left behind, check out my show, Echoes of Elsewhere, an urban exploration podcast where I uncover the hidden mysteries of forgotten places, interview other explorers, and share with you my tips and tricks of the trade. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Until next time, remember, if nothing we do matters,
Then all that matters is what we do.
This podcast is dedicated to the Buffyverse, to its fans, and my sister, Tiffany Dawn Pearson.